Welcome to JG's Fight Talk, sponsored by Riches Boxing and Limitless Creations. And with me now, Verity Panter. How you doing, Verity?
I'm very well, thank you, Joel. Thank you very much for having me on your show today.
I'm absolutely chuffed you could come on. Really appreciate it. I know you're a busy lady. The kids are at home and the husband.
Yes, somewhere.
Three kids.
Yeah.
But no, I really appreciate your time. And as I say, it's a difficult time for everyone at the moment. We're all sort of having to do different things or find different things to do because the norm is not really there at the moment, is it?
No, it's not. It's difficult for everyone, as you so rightly say. People have it very tough at the moment. I know that.
And you obviously had homeschooling to deal with.
Isn't that fun? I know. Oh. Like many other people out there, I'm sure we can all relate to that.
Oh, blimey, yeah. Probably the biggest test of my life.
Yeah, the longest term of my life.
Yeah. I now take my hat off to every teacher out there. I want to put it out there now.
You would be a teacher is my first thought.
Never.
I'm sure they love it.
But we're here to talk about you. Where did it all begin? You know, you're a licensed MC. As you told me just before we came on, the only female licensed MC in the UK.
Yeah, I know, it's really exciting. So it all began at York Hall, actually. I used to live round the corner from Bethnal Green, so we used to go to York Hall at the weekends and watch some of the shows there. And I was with my husband and a mate of mine who trains me in voice acting. And we were watching the boxing one day and we all love it. And we couldn't understand the MC and we were listening out to hear a friend of ours who was fighting that night, but we couldn't understand who the MC was announcing. There was a lot of shouting and you couldn't hear. And I was like, after a few beers, oh, I could do better than that. I could do that. And they're like, yeah, you could do that. So I thought, yeah. And so I went to find out who'd put the show on and who the promoter was. And it was Steve Goodwin. And so I had a little chat with Steve and he's like, okay, what you need to do is you need to go and speak to the British Boxing Board of Control and this, that and the other. And he was really helpful, actually. He said, go away and find out all about it and then come back to me. So what I hadn't realised is that you even needed a licence to be an MC. I thought you could just get in the ring and get on the mic and give it a go. Really. And so I rang them up and they're like, yeah, you need to have an interview and you need to learn the rule book and all this. And so I was really clueless. And I went along to the interview with the panel, with the board, which was a bit daunting because obviously it's a lot. I'd say a lot of men. It was all men in those days on the boards, and I got on very well with them. But I didn't have all the information they required. I didn't pass my interview, so I went away and got a mentor, Brett Freeman, and he trained. Sorry, he's got two names. His show name is Brett Hollywood, and he's really good. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's really good. And so I used to go to York Hall and sit next to him and train with him and learn the rule book and know all the weight classes. And then I went back for my interview, and they gave me my license. But they don't just dish them out. You really have to. You sort of put through the mangle, so to speak.
Yeah, it makes it sound like it's a real quite a tough process, you know. So what is it you actually had to learn? You say you were given the rule book.
Yeah.
What sort of, you know?
Dating that rule book. It's lots of little, it's tiny and loads of writing, really small. So you definitely need to know the weight classes and what all the different weights are. But in those days, when I was living in London, we used to drive to Cornwall at the weekends and go surfing sometimes. And I used to get my kids to quiz me on all the weight classes. So I'd do their times table and then they'd quiz me on the weight classes to get them.
It's only fair.
I thought so. They enjoyed that. They enjoyed testing mum. So that was really it. And then obviously you have to stand up and then they obviously take you through the school. You get this score set. They said, what happens if one judge scores this and another does that? What's the outcome? So that's another part of it. And then obviously stand up and read a card. And by that stage, that's the easy bit. It almost is like the relief of sort of just talking. because my other job, I'm a voiceover artist.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time talking to myself on a microphone in a sound booth in a little padded cell, making.
You've got that at home. You've got your own
Yeah.
facility at home. And
A little studio.
okay.
And I voice things for like some commercials, radio commercials, or explainer videos, or corporate videos, a variety of things, really.
So was that something you were doing prior to your MC license, or did that come sort of afterwards? Did that come along with it?
It came along a bit before. I had a sort of change. I used to run a security guarding company, but that didn't work with young kids being 24/7 on the end of a phone and sorting things out. So I had a sort of career change and thought I'd be a voiceover artist. And then I realized it's quite a competitive world. So when I was at York Hall, I was like, maybe that's how I make myself a little bit different to everybody else. And I love boxing, and it just seemed a sort of natural thing. And actually, yeah, I love the boxing. I'm really glad I stepped into the ring and got my license.
Yeah. So on your first day, when you get in that ring for the first time, because that must have been quite daunting. Like,
yeah.
knowing at the same time, not that it's an issue, but being the only female MC in the country, because people are going to go, okay, this is different. We haven't seen a female before. And then you're stood there in front of all those people. Did you have cards, or was it something you just had to sort of roll off?
It was really nerve-wracking. I can't tell you how nervous I was after my first show. Yeah, I have cards, like boxing cards, like these.
Okay.
Because you might be doing 19 fights, 19 fights, and you have to get every weight right. So you're not going to memorize 19 boxers, their weights, their records, especially as you don't want to make a mistake. My real fear is to call something wrong, I think, and saying the wrong record or wrong mistake. So I go on BoxRec beforehand and just triple check all the facts. And then it's a case of just reading the fact, not reading the facts out, but, announcing the facts. So I prefer to have it written down. I don't always look at the cards, but if it's there, then I know I'm going to get it right.
Yeah. You've got a prompt.
Yeah, you've got a prompt. And if something goes wrong, or if the mic breaks, or somebody shouts something to you, you know where you are. So, but my first show, they had sort of smoke machines and flashing lights, and I was standing in the middle of the ring. And I really wondered, I stood there going, why am I putting this much pressure on myself? What am I doing? I was so totally out of my comfort zone. I'm not somebody that naturally likes to get up and speak to people in a big group. I'm quite quiet. Well, no, maybe not quiet, but
your husband might say something completely.
No, I was going to say my friends and my husband will probably say something different. But I'm definitely not one to stand on a stage with a microphone. That's not me. So I was quite surprised that was where I ended up. But I felt I had to. So I'd sort of gone, as I say, on that sort of beery night in York Hall, yes, I can do this. And I always like to follow things through. And so I had a lot of support from my husband and friends. I had a lot of support from the board when I didn't make the interview the first time. They said, you must come back, come on. And I was like, I've got to get my license. And I got my license. I was like, yes, I've done it. And then I was like, oh no, that means I've got to do it now. I was like, oh no.
That's it now.
Yeah.
To get a license, you got to use it.
No, I got to use it.
Yeah.
But now I love it so much. I've missed it so much in the last year. I get really excited before a show. I know everybody beside the ring, or the board, or the officials, lots of the refs. It's just a fun atmosphere. Still very obviously male heavy. But I'm a tomboy at heart, and I love that. I don't feel daunted by it. But still, you get a bit of sort of not nervous before a show, but the anticipation of the show, and you want to make sure your voice doesn't go through in the middle of the show, which I mean I do a lot of vocal warm-ups and exercises, so it shouldn't, but I don't relax till it's over.
It's expect the unexpected sometimes. I think.
Yes, yes, exactly. And you have to calm the crowd down, or get them geared up, or yes, announce something. You know, I've had to suddenly announce various things in the show for different health and safety or anything else. But it's probably a bit like you were mentioning earlier. You did white collar boxing, and the adrenaline, the excitement from that. It's probably a similar sort of thing. The
Yes.
next day you're knackered and exhausted because you put so much like adrenaline into it.
Yeah, it's the buzz, isn't it? And you can't explain that buzz to someone else until they kind of experience something on a similar level or experience the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, like when my friends turn around and said, "Oh, but what was it like? Did you know?" And you're like, "But I can't tell you." You know, after the first round, I was absolutely blowing, and that was like with the training and everything, because it's that initial. They said it's about 60-70% of your adrenaline's gone on your ring walk, because the atmosphere catches you, your friends and family are there, everything's going on around you. Like you were saying, there was a smoke machine, it's all sorts of madness. And, you know, it's a big event for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was shattered. There's no other way to describe
Surprise. Hats off to anyone who stands in the ring to box or who gets into box. I'm just announcing you're boxing. That's different.
But I have to say, you know, your job is such an important part. You know, you look at yourself. I'll point out the obvious. You know, the David Diamante of the world. You know, the Michael Buffer of the world. You know, they've got such a major part in that build-up. You know, you sell the fight before the fight happens, and
Yeah.
and that is, I don't think yourself or the other people that do it get the credit, because you know you set the tone, you get the crowd going. You know, you're that person that literally delivers the first punch before the first punch has been thrown by a boxer, because it's so important.
Well, you're really kind, but I have to say the crowd make it. When you've got a really buzzing crowd, when your call is on fire, it's just electric, and it's so fun to announce when the crowd's that excited.
Is there a particular fight that comes to mind that you were really excited about announcing, or is it just you get the same buzz every time?
I get it. It really depends who's got the fans out there, and the people with the fans or the following. It's just the noise. The noise it creates is exciting. I did a show in Plymouth. Brad Pauls came up from Cornwall to fight. I think it's a Southern Area title, and he had loads of friends there, and the whole place was just electric. So yeah, and when I did Kay Prospers again, I did one of his title fights for the English title, and just he brought loads of fans along, and that's what makes it exciting, I think. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in the current situation, we were talking about, you know, ladies in the sport. Who is there any females in particular in the sport at the moment where you think, wow, she's really paving the way, or you know, she's one to look at? Is there any?
Well, I mean, you know, Katie Taylor's the obvious one who has done a lot. And obviously Jane Couch originally paved the way, didn't she, in the 90s, and what she did was amazing. But I think Terry Harper's coming through as well. She's doing really well, and I love Hannah Rankin. I announced Hannah's world title fight up in Scotland, and she's so nice as well. Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, so there are some great names coming through. There's loads more than that I haven't mentioned. And the fact that they're in the press more, the fact that they're even on a commercial for Sky Sports. You got, you know, Terry Harper's on a commercial for Sky Sports. That would never have happened, you know, a few years ago. So yes, it's a changing landscape. It's exciting to be a part of it, and it's exciting that more women are involved. I think that, you know, there's a woman on the British Boxing Board now for a year or so. Yes, we got a few female referees. It's starting to change. Yeah.
No, I think it's great for the sport, because it, you know, it makes women feel like they can compete more, get involved more, and it's really opened the door, hasn't it? And you know, people like yourself, you know, you've now set the bar, in my opinion, I know you're a very gracious person, but in my opinion, you've set the bar to get those other ladies into doing MCing and giving them the confidence that, hey, you can do it and there is a place for us here. And I think that's so important.
Well, I think that's, kind of you to say that. I didn't think of it at the time. I didn't know there wasn't another woman doing it at the time. It didn't occur to me that there wouldn't be. And when I found out there wasn't, I was actually quite surprised that, you know, in 2020 or whatever, there's no other female and there's no other woman doing something, because they do everything that men do, I thought today, but obviously not. And if I can open doors for people coming up behind me and girls thinking, yeah, I want to go and be an MC, or look at what she's doing, I could do something similar, or I can do what I want to do, or just to give them, you know, it doesn't matter if you want to go and do something, just go and give it a go. And if you're good at it, people will, you know, accept you for that. The boxing family is really welcoming. It's all men, but if you're good at something, then they welcome you. And if you're bad at something, they just probably wouldn't give you any more work. It's simple as that. It's not about gender or race or anything else. It's totally, are you good or not? We don't really care. If you're good, fine, do it.
Yeah. No, and you can't get fairer than that, can you? You know,
which is fair enough. Which is why I always say I don't want to mess it up, though, because if you are the only woman, you come out with a little squeaky voice and mess it up. You're like, oh, they're just going to then play the female card at me, aren't they? So,
well,
yeah, pressure.
You were talking about. I'm gonna throw it at you now. You were talking about Katie Taylor. She's obviously got a massive fight coming up against Natasha Jonas.
Yeah.
On I think it's May the 1st.
Yes, May the 1st.
Personally, in my opinion, should be the headliner. It's got everything going for it. All the titles are on the line. Two incredible female athletes, and just generally amazing people, to be honest. How do you see that one going? Or are you not allowed to say anything?
I don't know. I prefer not to say. I don't know. They're both fantastic. As people, they're both brilliant. I love Natasha Jonas as well. Katie Taylor's been fantastic. I can't wait for May the 1st. It's my birthday a few days afterwards, and watching this is going to be my birthday present. Obviously online, but it's going to be great. I mean, you know, that's an amazing fight. Look, everyone's going to be excited to see that. They've got to be. It's, you know, it's going to get such a build up.
Yeah, and obviously before that one, I don't normally allow fence sitters, but I completely understand your position. So
yeah, I ended up announcing that fight, and I said, "Well, they're going to win, or they're going to win."
Exactly.
Matching give me a call.
I go, hang on.
She's announced the score wrong in favour of the person she wanted. Yeah,
it is a bit like that, so I completely understand. I think we've got obviously the 10th of April, Ebony Bridges versus Shannon Courtney, which is obviously another big fight coming up for a world title as well.
Yeah.
Bless Rachel Ball. I think such a talented girl. You know, she's had her struggle getting over COVID. Hopefully she'll get fit and back out there again soon. But we've got this one to look forward to. Apparently the winner's going to get Rachel Ball.
Okay.
Ebony Bridges versus Shannon Courtney. Looks an interesting one.
It does, yeah. I like Bridges. I think, you know, and Courtney. I like them both. Yeah.
See what you're doing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. This is what I'm saying. There are so many great female fights coming up this year, especially in lockdown. There seems to be a lot going on. In literally the last 2 years, more and more, they're just really hitting the shows, and there's more chat around them, and they're out there, and it's really exciting. Really exciting.
Yeah.
I love watching the women fight.
The peak for me was Harper Jonas last year. I think it was last year.
Yes,
absolutely incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
I think they stole the show for Fight Camp. I know there was the Dillian White Povetkin first fight, which was the last. Which is happening tomorrow, but
no, that's exciting too.
I just think women's boxing, and I don't like saying women's boxing because it's boxing.
Boxing,
the level is just incredible now, isn't it? And it's so good to see that they're starting to get that recognition they deserve.
Yeah, well, as you say, that was such a good fight. I really enjoyed it. That it's brilliant to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if you had a ticket to that show, you'd have got your money's worth just by watching that. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, Verity, I really hope I see you on the telly soon, because the Queen of Queensbury needs to be on the telly. And honestly, it's been lovely having you on. I tap my hat off to you. As I say, you're the benchmark for getting the other people in the sport now, and yeah, you should be really proud of yourself.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Joel. You're really kind, and thank you for your kind words and for having me on your show. And hopefully as well, for the women that are fighting and the women that are in the ring, if they had a female announcer there, that would make them feel stronger as well. Not that they probably need it, but it's nice. It's nice that the girls can get out there and do things too, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. No, I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and keep up the amazing work, and love to the family.
Thank you very much, Joel. It was lovely to be on your show today.
No problem. You take care.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, Verity Panter, what an absolute gem she is. The only licensed MC, female licensed MC in the country. And yeah, let's get her on the big shows. That's where she deserves to be. And listen out for her voice as well on the telly, the commercials. We'll be listening. But you've been watching JG's Fight Talk, as always, sponsored by Rich's Boxing and Limitless Creations. And I'll see you all soon. Thank you.